So anyway, hey, welcome aboard, and sorry I had to go through all those ministrations, but tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I do a lot of things actually. I try to keep myself busy, and I've been doing a lot of spiritual development, and just for the last year and a half, and I've been a medium, or I'm going to use the word sensitive, not a medium. I've been sensitive my whole life, and when I was about 15, that's as far back as I could remember really experiencing spirit activity, and back then I could see them, I could feel them, I could hear them, but I was born and raised in a very religious family, and I didn't understand what I was seeing, and of course the religion, if you're seeing, especially dead people, that's never, it was just, too weird for them, my parents or anybody around me to really, understand, or I had nobody to really go to and talk to about it. So I just basically just stopped the transmissions, I guess, or just really just kind of ignored it, and it did go away for a while, and I don't remember really experiencing anything, until after I had kids. And once I had kids, they got to a certain age. My husband at the time, his brother, was shot and murdered, and died a very negative death, and so his ashes were put in our house on our mantle, which was fine, I didn't have a problem with that, but apparently it had brought in, opened an actual portal, I found out later, in our house, and then all this activity just started happening, not just with me, but with my kids.
Oh, my.
And, yeah, it was pretty crazy, and it was really scary for me, and, again, I didn't have really, there were, nowadays there's ghost hunters everywhere, ghost investigators, paranormal, mediums, psychics, clairvoyants, but it's not like people can come out of the closet and go, okay, it's okay to be, I'm a paranormal investigator or I'm a medium, and, it's more accepted, nowadays. But when I was a kid, back then, like 15 years ago, it wasn't.
Yeah, I understand. Totally.
Yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of a long story what happened in the house. I'll have to tell you one day. It was really kind of something else. But that got me started just trying to understand how these things happen. I actually went to a local place in Sacramento. It was a psychic institute, and I had these panel of readers read for me because I didn't know who else to turn to really. And one of the three, this one girl, I'll never forget this. She had blonde hair and she was very tapped in. She was walking through my house, and I couldn't figure out how did she see where my furniture is placed, and how did she know that my hallway ends and the bedrooms where they are, And it was really hard for me to wrap my head around that. And so then she tells me there's a portal, and there's spirit, there's a family member, and it's a brother, and she starts telling me all these details about my brother-in-law. And the clincher was, she told me there's other spirits there, and one of them's name sounds like a door. And my brother-in-law's best friend, who committed suicide about a year or two before he died, before my brother-in-law died, his name was Ador. And I'm like, okay. So I knew she was for real. And I never understood it. So years had gone by after this, and I was alone with my two girls living in a place, and it seemed like every single house I went to, it was haunted. Or, why was it every time I went to a house and my curse, why are they following me? I still didn't get it. I wasn't understanding it. And my abilities started growing and growing, and I basically just did a lot of self-help. I just went on the internet and read books and stuff.
Yeah.
So now, long story short, I go out and I really put myself in the line of fire. I was really afraid, and I thought it was negative, and I thought it was bad, and I had a lot of preconditioned, notions in my head about spirit and about why I'm affected by them. Not everybody else is. But I think that a lot of people are, and they just don't want to admit it, or they don't know how to handle it, or they think it's dark. And I did for a long time. And then about a year and a half ago, I really, just kind of jumped right into going into dealing with ghosts and dealing with spirit and trying to understand why I'm seeing them and why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing with them.
What do you think the catalyst was to make that shift to go from, being afraid and looking at it from the your historical self, the religious view, to where you're at now? What do you think made that change for you?
I couldn't give you one specific thing, but at the time, I had moved in with at that time I was engaged, and my fiance and I were living together with my girls, and I was experiencing activity again, and it was I thought, okay, why is this spirit really messing with me? I mean, it was weird. I mean, like touching my hair and putting his fingers between my toes, and I never got any sleep, and it was just all of a sudden, it was out of nowhere. And again, I was more agitated and irritated because I follow paranormal stuff. Ghost Hunters was like the show. I watched it religiously. Okay, I didn't miss it. If I wasn't there, I was taping it. And so I've always had this really weird, desire to watch movies like this. And so anyway, this happened, and this wasn't that long ago. This was just when this happened. We had another paranormal team come out, and they worked with us, and then they had two sensitives come in. And I was excited, and I was like, I wanted to know everything. I wanted to pick their brain. I was like, how do you do what you do? I want to do that because I want to know. I want to know. It's just like a sponge. I guess at that point I was just, I need to have an answer. I can't just do this on my own anymore. And I started reaching out to people. And this one group came and told us what was there, and it kind of freaked my daughter out because she was really affected by it and didn't really tell me about it. So I think it was all of that, and with my daughter, with this last activity that I had in my house, and I don't know. It just seems like one day I just woke up and all of a sudden I'm working with the ghost hunting group, and I'm going to clairvoyant meetings, and I go to every meetup.com meeting there is that has to do with spiritual. And I just really jumped in, and I haven't stopped ever since. Since June of last year, it's just been go, go, go. And so I think a lot of people are really experiencing that too. And
I know so. I mean, many of our guests that come on talk real similarly to what you've been experiencing. And it's funny you bring up the thing with the feet because earlier this year, I'm on a property here in Shingle Springs, going towards Lake Tahoe. And just up from a common friend you and I know.
okay.
I woke up in the morning, probably about 2:30 in the morning, to someone grabbing my feet and trying to pull me out of my bed in my single-room studio. And I had the same exact, I think, reaction that you did. I felt like I was really pissed off at it. I mean, I got up and started cursing. And well, what in the hell are you doing in my house? You guys, I hunt you. You don't come into my place. I was sitting there like, rah. And I went and grabbed the sage and started staging everything, and then did some blessings, and then had a couple of friends come in and know what to do, and cleared the place. But I honestly, I think it was not. It was nothing but a kind of a prank on their part, but it was very disturbing. You feel like your privacy got violated, I don't know. Is that how you reacted to it?
Yeah. I mean, and this is kind of embarrassing to say, but I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one it's happened to, but your privacy does get invaded because the thing is that they are bothering you. It's like, okay, well, you need to set up house rules. And I actually had one spirit one time that I woke up to it kind of messing with me, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was so mad because I felt so violated, and I'm like, I had no control over it, and I was like waking up, and it really scared me. At this point, I was sleeping on the couch because it was the same spirit that was on in this last house, and it was like, it was really messing with me. I was exhausted on top of everything else because I wasn't getting any sleep, and it seems like what I found is that as soon as they know that they're there, okay, like, you walk into somebody's house and you're just a friend, and